Hi, I'm Bill Hobson, and I'm wondering if you can relate to having one of those days where you had grand plans and they did not work out. Now for me, that took place a few weeks ago at this Speedway station, and I'll set the scene for you. We had been enduring a long string of fairly cold weather, but there was a warmer day coming, and we also knew that our son was coming home from college, and so my wife thought, what an ideal time to cook out some burgers, because what says cook out more than 42 degrees and really windy? She also reminded me that we were out of propane, having used the last of it last summer when it was actually warm. So it was time for me to make a little trip, so I grabbed the empty propane tank and put it in my car. I also decided, for reasons I'll never really understand, to invite our dog to come along with me. Reggie and I never take road trips together, and he seems to enjoy getting in the car for whatever reason. So off we go. About a mile and a half away, maybe less, is a Speedway station where they have propane out front in the big cage. I also noticed as I pulled in that their gas prices were ridiculously low on this particular day, and my tank was also ridiculously low. So we're going to take care of multiple projects at once. I pull into a pump and get out to begin the process of filling my Ford Flex with gas. The pumps were moving a bit slow, maybe because the place was packed, I don't really know. And while the gas was pumping into my vehicle, I thought, why don't I take this canister in and get this process handled while I have some time, because it was cold. Pop the hatch on my Flex, grab the empty propane canister, hatch back down, head on into the station. Now inside the station, there were two young ladies working. They were very nice, but they didn't have the slightest clue how to handle a propane tank exchange, probably because it's the dead of winter and there hasn't been a lot of demand for that sort of thing. So they talk it over for a little while, and then one of them puts on her winter coat and comes outside with me to the cage where the propane tanks are. While she's talking through how this is going to work, and for the record, here's how it's going to work. Here's my empty tank. Thank you for the full tank. I already paid for it. Anyways, while she's talking through this process, I get a phone call, and it's a phone call I've been waiting for a few days from a healthcare provider. They don't call back very regularly, so I knew I had to take it and I had to stay on this call. So while she's talking with me and we're working out this exchange, I answer the call, I get the full propane tank, and I now, after nodding my thanks to the young lady, begin walking back towards my car. I get back there, I'm still on the call, I reach for my remote, I pop the hatch, I put the full propane tank in the back, I close the hatch, I walk around to the driver's door, I'm still on the call, I get in, I hit the button to start the car, don't need a key anymore, and put it in gear and start driving away. And I make it about 3 feet before I hear an incredibly loud crashing sound, because I had left the nozzle in the fuel receptacle on my car and had begun to drive away. Kaboom. I stop, I'm still on the call. I stop, I said to the lady, I think I just wrecked something, I gotta go. Boom, I hang up the phone, put the car in park. Dog's very fascinated by this, by the way, entertainment galore. Get out, walk around, and sure enough, there is the entire hose assembly ripped out of the gas distribution hub, laying on the ground. Now, thankfully, they have an auto snap-off these days, because apparently it happened, so there wasn't gas everywhere. That process had stopped. The fueling had been fulfilled because of how long the transaction for the propane tank took. So in that sense, I was blessed. I get out of the car now. Everybody at this gas station, I think there were 45,000 people there, give or take a couple. They were all looking, thinking perhaps that I was just going to drive away. And I get out and I see this hose laying there. I see a little bit of damage to my car. And for some reason, I think at this moment that the best thing I can do is neatly coil up the hose that's now laying on the ground and just gently set it at the base of the fuel station. I'm not sure why that thought even came to me. I'm not necessarily OCD. I don't usually pay attention to how neatly things are folded, but that's what I did here. And then, while people I think thought I was going to just drive away, I made the walk of shame inside the gas station, and now there were people in line like crazy in there, and I kind of moved over to the side and I signaled for the young lady who had helped me earlier to come this way, and I kind of whispered to her, "Hey, do you know how the hoses out there are breakaway hoses? Snap off if somebody drives off?" She goes, yeah, I know. I said, "Well, it broke away." And she kind of looked at me and then she said, "Okay, we'll come right out." She's very calm, puts on her coat, comes out, brings the yellow crime tape, the bag over the pump because it's going to be incapacitated for quite some time. And she says to me, now this young lady is probably 22, 23. She's about this tall. And she looks up at me and she says, "Honey, don't you worry about it. You're the second one today." Now, why am I telling you this story about my own ineptitude and embarrassing moment? Because I really think there's a lesson in it for all of us, myself included, that if we allow outside distractions to cloud our thinking, we'll never reach or achieve the goal we set out to achieve. I think about those organizations, perhaps they're in ministry, who want to launch a new form of ministry, but on the way to doing that, they get sidetracked by a million other things and never actually end up launching the ministry. I think about individuals who set personal goals for themselves. It happens every year around New Year's, right? Perhaps it's a physical fitness goal. I'm going to get to the gym 5 days a week. And within 2 weeks, you're down to 4, and then 3, and then 2, and then 1, because all of the excuses come in or all of the distractions, and you never end up getting on the goal, the dedicated goal that you set out to achieve. In my case, I made a mess of a gas station because I allowed so many distractions to come in at once. My encouragement for you, and by the way, one of the things we love to help with at Hobson Media is helping you stay focused on your primary objectives, to let the main thing remain the main thing. So, at the end of all of this, my hope is that you'll reach out to us and begin a conversation so that we together can devise a strategy to block out the distractions and the overwhelming influences that can take you off message and off goal. And in the end, celebrate together the achievement of what your organization, your ministry, or you as an individual really know that you need to accomplish. Let's not have any more walks of shame back into the gas station. Instead, let's celebrate doing it the right way, remaining disciplined in our strategy.